Hi, my name is Mitra. I'm a servant. I serve through teaching, coaching, consulting, or any other way that I can find to share what I know with those who want to know. And this Lights On podcast is one of those ways. It was created with consciousness and mindful living in heart. So join us as we travel through many roads of learning and transformation together. And if you enjoy our podcast, please give us feedback by rating us 5-star and share us with others if you think they may benefit from it. On behalf of my team, I thank you for your presence. This episode is my favorite episode. Or as my daughter, when she was younger, used to say, it's my bestest episode. And the reason for that is that my team members from around the globe have gathered to talk about how the whole Lights On podcast was born, how it was named, how it comes to be, and who is involved in them. They're going to also recommend their favorite episodes to you. So I'm really happy to have them as a part of the podcast because they usually are behind the scenes. So you will hear them from Spain to Costa Rica, from US to Costa Rica, from Venezuela to Argentina, from Ukraine to Switzerland, and of course, for me, from Iran to US. You will hear them, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed connecting with them and talking with them and bringing this episode to you. Let's take a listen together. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 100th episode. This is a very, very special episode, at least for me, because most of my team members who work with me and make this happen are here. And I know when I used to listen to podcasts before I did podcasts, I thought, oh, people just sit there and talk and that's so easy, not knowing what a huge tribe it takes to deliver a good sounding quality kind of podcast and show notes. So now I know, and I thought it would be good to share it with you and tell you how it's done, and also tell you a little bit of a story of how we got started, how Lights On was born. It was a few years ago, and I let the younger member of our crew tell you when it was, because I'm sure I get it wrong. And it was around the holidays, just end of the year. I wake up and I have a message from Megan, who then was our chief of staff. And the recording says, "Hi, my name is Mitra, and welcome to Lights On podcast." And she goes on and on and on. And of course, I had just woken up and I was resting and relaxing. I wasn't in work mode. And I thought, why Megan is saying I'm Mitra Manesh? I just didn't understand what was happening. So I listened to it a few times, and of course, eventually, with my dyslexic mind, I got it. I thought she was suggesting that I should do a podcast and the name needs to be Lights On, and so on and so forth. So that's the beginning story. I'm going to let Megan come in and tell her story of how this was born, because Megan is no longer working with us, but she is still, of course, in our hearts and definitely in our lives. And we invited her to come back and tell us all about it. Megan, welcome to your own podcast, your baby, and tell us about you, where you are, what you're doing, and how this whole idea was born in your heart.
Sure. Thanks, Mitra. So I'm doing well. I'm now based in Costa Rica and 6 months pregnant. So a lot has changed in a very short amount of time. But this podcast was born around 2019, really, the concept of it. And I'll never forget that somebody in one of your classes, she just said, it was like lights on. And as soon as she said that, it's like the pieces started slowly falling together. She was just using it in a general sense to describe her situation. And I just thought, wow, that's like a brilliant podcast name. And, sitting in the classes over many years, I knew we should do something with it. We started recording the classes. It took us, I think, 1 year or half a year to realize we should be recording these classes. And we weren't sure what we were actually going to do with it at the time. I think it was more just having a little bit of a record of your classes and like a resource library. And as I would sit in the classes, I was thinking, oh man, like these are like really good streams of consciousness that we could put out there. And sometimes it was like 2 minutes, really powerful. Sometimes it was 10 minutes. And I just thought, why this is not being released to the world. And Pablo, actually, I had shared some with him, and he was even more of an advocate of like, oh my gosh, you guys have to put this out. Like, you have to do something with this content. And so it was, I think, right around, Thanksgiving or Christmas time of 2019, listening to them and getting really inspired, that I just sat down and wrote like Lights On podcast, and I started writing a whole intro. And then Pablo hooked up his microphone in the studio, and I went in there and I just recorded it, and then he put it together so we could really show you how powerful it could be in just a short amount of time. I mean, that was really the concept, right? Is that you don't need an hour. A lot of these podcasts, it's a lot of filling space, I find, like guests and things, and they're kind of rambling. And this to me was just like these quick hits, that were really deep, that if you had 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you could, take it away. So that was really how it was kind of put together. And it really just fell into place organically. I thought the name really captured what it was, about awakening and consciousness and turning the light back on. And so I can't take full credit because somebody dropped that in a class, and I thought that's a brilliant name. And then your wisdom coming through in a natural, organic flow state, which I find to be different than studio recorded. Not that one is better or the other, but I really loved the energy of the class, and I thought we could share that with more people.
Great. Thanks, Megan. So we've got the history and the background now. And for the reference, by the way, Pablo uh, is married to Megan, but he also is the chief engineer, sound engineer, video engineer for all of our work. And as well as he's a very well-known DJ, globally known, famous DJ. So he'll speak too. He's here today with us. Okay, Megan, anything else? Do you have any favorite topics or any episodes that really worked for you? Anything?
I mean, I think every episode honestly has something. I definitely have more attachment to some of the early ones because I think of the memories that started it and ignited it and how excited we were to put it out. So some of the first few episodes, which was, I think, Control is an Illusion, The Art of Letting Go. Those are like 3 minutes, but so deep and so powerful. I've listened to them probably 20 times or more, over the years, and I go back to them. So the one around death and what happens when we die, when somebody said, does it really matter what happens after we die? I thought that was a really powerful episode. And yeah, I don't have one. I can't say one. It's too hard. And then there's coaching episodes too. You did one with a young woman around skincare, but it went much deeper than just about the skincare, and around a mother who was single and is no longer, needing to be in survival mode. And so, I mean, I think there's something for everybody, depending what you're looking for. You have short, you have long, but definitely Control is an Illusion, The Art of Letting Go, and the one around death were imprinted pretty strongly in my heart. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Megan, and thank you for making the time. I know it's your early in the morning in Costa Rica here, and being with us. So don't go away. We need to talk to you again. So let's see who wants to go next. Let me just go from the most senior staff, meaning the one who's been with us longest, to person who, relatively speaking, joined us recently. But my God, when they say it's about quality, not quantity, I really felt that when Katie Thompson, a very gifted writer, joined our team. and she does our show notes. And to be honest with you, my teachings are so specific. I'm so fussy about words. Not that my English is that good, but the meaning of words are so important. And we have gone through many, many writers, and they've been all wonderful. But getting the depth of what I'm saying, for instance, the psychological aspect of a concept, or maybe the physical or medical aspect of a concept, is very different than the deeper energetic aspect of it. And most of the time, I had to go through words and make sure that they are using words that somehow go home for us. And Katie, who does all kinds of writing for us, but in this particular area, she does the show notes. She arrived and she sounded like everything was so easy. She said, "Sure, I'll send it. Okay, no problem." And of course, sure enough, she got it in, and I do not need to see it at all. I mean, after just a few weeks, she got it, and everything is like the way I teach it and the way I want it to be uh, really communicated to the world. So, long introduction, Katie Thompson. Please say hello and introduce yourself, and tell us about what you do, and if there is any favorite, episode that go home for you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Katie Thompson. I live near Atlanta, Georgia, and everything really just clicked. I love working with Mitra and the team. There's just such this amazing wisdom that comes through, like Megan said. I work with the show notes, like Mitra said. I write the summaries, and I work on some of the social media posts. I think my favorite episode, though, would be the recent one we did about emotional independence. That one really hit home. There was a situation where I realized after listening to the podcast that I really was just begging this person to change. And, I was trying to redo my boundaries constantly. And after listening, I realized that, it's not their job to really make sure that I'm happy and content. It's my job, and I can take responsibility for that. And that was just so amazingly powerful. Um, so that one definitely spoke directly to me.
Great. Thank you, Katie. That was very, I'm really, really glad that helped you. Um, thanks. That was great. Let's see who is next. Let's go between Pablo and Vicky. Whoever wants can go.
Okay, I will go, and then Pablo will go, hopefully. So my name is Vicky. I've been working with Mitra for 1.5 years, I think, or maybe a little bit more. I don't remember for sure. And right now, my involvement in the podcast is about, I would say, I don't know, content choosing or content management. So basically, I listen to everything what Mitra does. Basically, it's interviews, classes, clubhouses, like different pieces of content. And then I choose those parts that I think would be great to share. And then we agree them with Mitra. If they are good to go, we choose the title. And basically, yes, this is it from my side of podcast involvement. About my favorite episode, yes, I remember it. Yes, as Megan said, there are so many powerful and good episodes, but I think my most favorite is from season one. I don't remember; it was either 23rd or 24th, and its name is Compassion. But the episode itself is not only about compassion; it is also about loving kindness and about interconnectedness between people. And I do not know why, but probably it was that period of my life when it really went home for me. And I still remember it. And from time to time, I even re-listen to it. So,
Well, what Vicky said, she does far more than what she said. She comes up with ideas. She's really, really creative and tells me what to do, what new things to do, what things to stop. And it's far more than what she communicated. Also, Vicky is from Ukraine. She forgot to tell us that. She's from Ukraine. And just before all the unfortunate things that are happening in Ukraine started to happen. She like literally a day or so before she left Ukraine. So you want to tell us about that, Vicky?
no, I think that our podcast listeners may go back and to listen to our episode, which we recorded together. It's called
Oh,
Fresh from Ukraine.
oh, do
I
you
share in details.
Archies. Yes, to find out more, please go and listen to our episode. There's an episode that I actually sat and talked to Vicky about her experience and what she was going through. Well done, Vicky. See, I told you she does so many things. Great, thank you. Yes, that's the episode to listen to if you want to find out more about her experience and her really just emotional experience of how it felt like to be outside of Ukraine while all of these horrific things are happening in Ukraine. So thank you. Let's see. I don't see Jenn, but I see that she's here. Let's go to Pablo because Pablo was ready. And Pablo, please say your full name and introduce yourself and tell us about your involvement with me and us and what you do and where you are and if there are any favorite episodes. Go ahead.
Hola, my name is Pablo Ceballos. I'm from Spain. I'm a music producer, a DJ, and I own a studio. I'm a sound engineer, and I'm Megan's husband. I met Mitra through Megan. I always say that Mitra has been a gift in our lives. She has been one of the best teachers and mentors that I could ever imagine. So for me, to work with Mitra was almost like a service, you know. I say I did have a lot of experience with some recordings. I have my own podcast, so I have all the experience. And when I listen to Mitra, when the first day I went to the class, I say we need to put this word out there, loud and clear. So so for me, I have no choice. I have to do this. So I decided to help Mitra with anything that she needed. At the beginning was helping to record in her classes, then was the podcast, and then was the app and the videos and everything. And I have to mention too my right hand, Pablo Guadalupe, that is an amazing percussionist and musician. Actually, he was the one working on the music that opens the intro and the outro of the program. And then I help Mitra with anything regarding her setup, any technical. She always called me, Pablo, what can I do with this? What can I do with that? And I'm really, really happy to help her with anything.
Yes, Pablo is referring to our Pablo number 2, who assists Pablo to do the editing and mastering of all our sounds and videos. So he's not here with us, but he's always helping Pablo, and he's been part of our team. He's also a gifted musician that helps us. I remember when we had the New Year event, he was there with his band and he was playing live for us from Spain, and it was just amazing to have him. No, he doesn't live in Spain. Where is he?
No, he lives in Ibiza. He lives in Spain, yeah.
Oh, he does. Okay, yes, Ibiza. That's true. So great. Thank you. Do you have any favorite episodes that you want to share with us, Pablo?
It's so many, to be honest. But my favorite, I think, is I would suggest the audience, if you never hear to Mitra, it's the first time that you listen to Mitra, I suggest go to one called Soul, Ego, Dead Body, and Mind. That was a conversation with Raj Jana, was an interview. I mean, Raj make amazing questions, and you guys really connect with each other, and Mitra gives even like better answers. And in that conversation, Mitra goes like really deep and talk about her personal life and about the spirituality. And I think it's an amazing podcast. And you don't Mitra, it's a really good hour to know what is Mitra about.
Great. Yeah, you're talking about Raj Jana, I think his name was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot. It was in the
Lovely.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yes, he actually has also a great podcast himself. I can't recall what the name is, but Raj Jana,
Grounded.
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 Thank you. Yes, yes, Grounded. Thank you, Megan. It's called Grounded. Ask Megan, she knows everything. Yes.
It's episode 25 and it's
Stay grounded. Sorry, stay grounded.
from
Stay
July
grounded.
2020. Yeah.
July 2020. Yeah, he was a great interviewer, and I have to say that interviewing for podcast or interviewing in general is a gift that not everybody has. A lot of times when I'm being interviewed, I feel like the person has an agenda with their interview, or they want to really say what they want to say, and that's fine, but then inviting somebody makes really no sense. But Raj was so curious, and he was open, so I don't think he came with like predetermined questions, which is fine to have it somewhere just in case there's silence and the person you're interviewing is not really being helpful. But he was really flowing with me. And because he was present and curious, he was asking questions that really went home for me. And we went deep, I recall. I'm going to go back and listen to that. Thank you for reminding me, Pablo. That was a deep, deep interview. Yeah. Thanks, Pablo. I can't see Jenn on we're on Zoom. I can't see her, but she
I'm
says
here.
she's here. Oh, you're here for some reason. I can't see you. All right, Jenn, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do and all the other good things.
Okay, so well, I'm Jen. I'm the designer for the team. So I do a lot of things for Mitra, but I think that when it comes to the podcast, I created the artworks and I create them when we need like a new different type of artwork, and I also create like the promo graphics that we use on social media. So basically, for that, I think that that's where I'm more involved when I have to create those promo graphics, because I have to listen to like all the episodes and just like I try to extract like little parts that I think that are like powerful enough to invite people to listen to the full episode on social media. So yeah, I mean, I listen to everything that you say on every single episode. And well, we've been working together since 2018, I think it was. So yeah, I think after Megan, I'm probably the one that it's been with you the longest.
That's true. That is true. And where are you living now, Jenn?
Oh, I'm living in Argentina, but I'm originally from Venezuela. So yeah, it's been a long journey in that sense too.
We do not have an interview with Jenn, but we could, because Jenn also had a beautiful story of leaving Venezuela a few years
Hmm.
back, and how that happened. But maybe Jenn, maybe that's an idea.
Well, actually, now that you mentioned that, we have an episode where you analyze one of the stories that we have in Inner Map that it's actually from me. So you go through like my story and you analyze each bit and kind of like, I guess, explain to the listeners like how the process behind that. You kind of break it down, I guess, in a way that it's easy for them to understand what happened there.
Oh, yes, I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 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 yes. But this one will be a direct interview. It would be
Oh,
wonderful.
yes.
I actually do one with every one of you. I do one with Katie, one with Megan, one with Pablo, because I've done it with Vicky, and one with Jen. That would be
Yeah.
great. And maybe Pablo number two, as we call him,
Yeah.
Guadalupe. What do you think? You think that's a good idea?
I
Yes?
think we could do it. We could definitely do it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So, yeah, so as you can see, thanks, Jen. That was really good. And Jen is really gifted with all the artwork, whatever artwork you see in social media, in our app, even like brochures and things that we put out. She does all the artwork, and she's one of the rare artists that can take feedback with no attitude. I mean, she's really open, and sometimes Megan and I butcher her work and say, "Don't do this. Oh, this colors are not." And she says, "Okay, sure." I mean, you're really the person that we describe, that the responsive as opposed to reactive, which is very hard because artists. The reason I said that, when you create an art, that's your baby. It's very, very hard to receive. It's like somebody arriving and telling me what's wrong with my kids. It's very hard to take it. But Jenn is just so adult. I think that's the right word, about feedback. And we always, I remember Megan and I always talked about, like, yeah, you can tell Jenn anything. You don't need to massage it or be careful or just say, colors don't work. No, that doesn't really go home for me. And she would say, okay, let me go at it again. And that's a very beautiful attribute to have as a team worker. Megan has raised her hand. Go ahead.
But then on the other side, when she was very sure and passionate about what she created and she would fight for what she believed in as well. So there was a balance between allowing, the feedback and to change. But then if she felt strongly, she would really stand up for herself as well and say why. And she always won, I think, when that happened.
So true. So true. That's very, very true. That is absolutely true. And I think we've been really gifted with the team that we had, because when I look at you I've got everybody on the screen, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I mean, if I literally looked around the world, I wouldn't be able on my own to find these people, and yet I'm working with them. Every single one of you is gifted and beautiful human being, and I really mean that. I don't have to speak about your qualities, but I do, because it's so important. I really am so thankful that Megan and later on Pablo walked into my life. Megan was and is a very important part of my life. She became family, which is not that easy for me, because I always was careful about the line between professional and personal life. Because of the kind of work that I do, people get very close to me, both students and clients, and I have to always be aware and conscious of the line between personal and professional. But she was so mature, she was so authentic, that it was easy to let her into my personal life. And she truly is like family. When she talked about expecting, I feel like, soon I'll be a grandmother, even though I haven't been yet, but I'll be a grandmother. And I really feel like I call my team members my professional children. They are my work children, and they truly are. And they can take it. I mean, every staff meeting, team meeting we have, it's so beautiful. We have a perfect balance of sharing personal stuff and connecting with each other, but not at the cost and the price of professional and professionalism. It's a very rare quality, and everybody naturally had it. It's not like we had a training on it or we had a discussion on it, but naturally the culture became such that we could get personal, but we also had our lines, and then we also stayed professional, which is a very rare quality as a person who goes into organizations and sees the inside of them. That's a very rare quality to have. So I'm very grateful for every single one of you. I'm grateful for Pablo accepting to be part of our team, because he was so busy. I remember when he first advised me, as a just like a nice guy being married to Megan, I thought, oh my God, it would be so wonderful if he really advises us like professionally. But he was also always traveling. I thought, there's no way, he was never home. I would not take another job. But then he came to me and he said, I want to help you. And he really meant it, and he still does it. And I have to beg him for an invoice. He does all these things. Oh, this one is on me. Well, I'm saying, what do you mean it's on me? Like, it's not, you can't do that. You got to charge me. So I got to go after him to send me an invoice. And then Vicky came, and it was amazing. It was truly amazing. The professionalism, the understanding, the depth, the overview of everything that she has, the suggestions, the ideas, was so impressive to hear you Vicky give us ideas, and Megan and I always talked about it. So like, we thought, Jen, we called Jen the Jim. She was the Jen we found, but then Vicky came along and we thought, well, we've got another one. And then Katie joined us and we thought, oh my God, like, this is amazing. I think we just went on a different road with the team that we were attracting first and foremost, because I always believe there's the outer, of course, we look for them, of course, but there's also an inner, there's an energy that brings these people around, and that was just amazing. Megan, come and help me. I'm talking too much.
Well, what am I going to say now? Oh, I agree. I mean, definitely being with Mitra from day one of building this team, it's pretty magical. The people and right now, you have the core team there, but there's been so many people along the way that have been amazing to work with and experience and gain professional advice from and mentors. I mean, there's so many people that we've gotten to work with too over the last 5 years, but the core team has like a really solid foundation. And I think, yeah, I agree with Mitra. I didn't have a lot of I've never had any corporate experience or any like big business experience. I've always been in startup or my own business. So I don't have a lot to relate it to. So for me, it felt really natural to always have more of this, like, how are you doing? What's going on in your life? And then going into work, and some days it just went into work, but it just felt natural and human to have more of a personal connection, to know that everybody's okay and what's going on, and that we're not robots, switched off. You can't just switch off all the time. Like, there's a time and a place, but sometimes you can't do that. So just to be able to connect with everybody, I think made it more fulfilling than maybe a more traditional type of job and environment.
Yeah, thanks.
Was that satisfying, Mitra?
I was, who the hell was or not? It came from your heart, and I think when it comes from the heart, it lands on hearts. So there you go. Yeah, it was beautiful. So let me just go around and see if there's any last things anybody wants to share. We go in the same order. So we went from Megan to Katie. Katie, anything you want to add and say before we end this session?
Just I'd love to thank everybody for letting me be part of this amazing team. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. And then I think we went to Vicky. Vicky, go ahead and tell us if there's anything else you want to tell us.
I would really like to encourage our listeners maybe to go through the earlier episodes, because like if they have just joined Mitra, it is such an amazing piece of, I do not know, even content. I cannot say it content because I manage content. It's such an amazing piece of wisdom, compassion. It is so deep and it is so big that it's a real treasure that is here available for everyone. That, I mean, I would be glad if as many people as possible could have access to it and just learn.
Thanks, Vicky. What a beautiful passion. Pablo, tell us what you want to say.
Yeah, we'd like to tell the audience that Mitra is a great teacher because she is an example of her own teachings. Her life represents her teachings. And that's the perfect quality for a teacher. And Mitra is really a role model for anybody that has the pleasure to know her, for sure.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you so much. Thanks, Pablo.
Thank you, Mitra.
Jen?
Hi. Oh, well, I just remember that I never mentioned what my favorite episode was, so I guess I'm going to say that. I think that my favorite one is from season 2. It's one of the coaching sessions that you did. This one was with Phoenix. I think I like all the coaching sessions because, every episode has something that you can, learn from them, but I think the coaching sessions are like really, it's like when you're in a class and someone raises their hand and they had the same question as you and you get the answer and you don't have to ask the question. That's all the coaching episodes give me that feeling. But I think the one that was called self-parenting. I think that that one really resonated with me because you talked about like how we should, kind of, it's important for us to show compassion to ourselves, like we show other people, and like being more like understanding and compassionate to ourselves as opposed to being like, analytical and judgmental. I think that was like very powerful, and that really went home for me. And I think that just, like listening to someone else that you don't know anything about, and then like you relate so closely to them, it's kind of like an amazing thing. So I think that if anyone is just like discovering the podcast now, or maybe they haven't listened to those episodes, it's like those are really good, and I really recommend anyone to listen to those.
Great. Thanks, Jen. It's amazing things that I've forgotten and you guys remember. That's amazing. I was thinking, what is my favorite episode? I have to say it was one of the coaching sessions, and I think Megan referred to it, that I was coaching a woman who had basically empty nest syndrome. And she was a single mother who raised children, and then they had left, but she had never realized that they had left. So she was acting as if she's a single mother with a lot of children, and she has to get up and be in this survival mode. And what was really important was that I was seeing her face. I mean, in a podcast, you only hear their voices, but the transformation was happening right in front of my eyes. And I saw her body going from like survival mode, like the tension and relaxation and really realization. And it happened so fast and so beautiful that I was touched by it, and she wrote back to me and we connected later on. But it really opened my heart because I could see her and I could see the effect that our conversation had, and her understanding and realization had on her. So that was my favorite one. All right, that was wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. Megan, Pablo, Vicky, Katie, Jen, to be here. But we let the person who was the mother of the podcast to close our podcast for us, who was Megan. This was her idea. This was her baby. She picked the name. And even though she said somebody else said it, sure, people talk all the time, but she picked everything. And if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have this podcast, which, as Vicky said, is an important tool, a free tool that at least a synopsis of my knowing, and Lord knows they're not mine, can be shared with the world. And I'm really, really grateful for this team, for our audience, that they listen and they're from around the world. Every time we check and see people, where are they from? Vicky says, wow, I can't believe that there are people from all corners of this world are listening to our podcast. We're grateful for your ears and your listening. And I'm also grateful for amazing team that I have. Take it away, Megan, and close it. You are it. And until the next time, I love you and leave you.
Great, no pressure. So I will just, before I close it out, I would actually just invite everybody, right around the same time we built mitramanesh.com, around 2020, I think it was. And, there's so many resources on that website that you can find, whether it's paid or free. Mitra has something literally for everybody. So I would encourage you to go check out mitramanesh.com. You can find the pre-recorded classes, all beautifully edited and organized by Pablo and Pablo too. Great quality, and Jenn and Vicky, and probably Katie soon will also be part of that, have put it so well into the courses. So I would really encourage you to check out the store. It's amazing resource to have on pretty much every topic. And there's some exciting things too. Mitra has a coaching program called the Mindful Attentionist, coming up in the fall, which is essentially first part, learning to coach yourself and really practicing on yourself and going deeper within your own journey. And then she's giving the option for you to learn how to coach others professionally. So if that sounds like it's something for you, I would really encourage you to go check it out. And everything you can find on mitramanesh.com. And of course, the podcast and the app, and she just has so many resources. So go check it out for yourself. And then in terms of closing this episode, I would just really encourage, like Vicky said, go from the beginning. Start from the first episode even, or hop around, whatever works for you. But one thing I've learned from Mitra and I've experienced myself is that it really depends on the level of consciousness that you are, what you get from the episode. So you may find new gems 10 times into an episode that you didn't hear the first 10 times. So I think they're timeless is what I'm trying to say. So go back, and I think they can apply to every single person in some area of their life. I don't think anybody's really exempt from a lot of these lessons. So I would just, encourage you guys to check it out. There's a lot of love that's gone into this podcast, as you can see. And it really does take a village, not one person. I may have wanted it to be born, but there's absolutely no way I could have gotten it off the ground without having all of every single person in this. And obviously Mitra. Without her, the podcast wouldn't exist. So with that, I'll say adios, working on my Spanish. And nice to be with everybody. Great energy here.
Let's just unmute ourselves and say goodbye in whatever language beside English that we know. If not, English will do. Let's do that. How about that? Let's unmute. I'll say Khoda Hafiz. That's mine.
I'll say Auf Wiedersehen.
Hasta luego.
Oh, what
Ciao.
was it? Ciao.
Okay.
Okay, Vicky.
I'll say do zустрічі in Ukrainian.
Perfect. Katie.
Hi.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Hope this episode answered the question or two for you, or provoked and inspired questions in you. I'm so grateful you showed up and listened up. Until the next time, be well and stay curious.